Hi, everyone. This is immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us this May 26th, 5 p.m. Pacific time for our regular Q&A session, taking your questions about U.S. immigration and all the insanity that goes with that, and confusion and unknowns. Happy to be here to help. So we're going to talk about general educational kind of stuff on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and TikTok. Just post your questions here, and my associate will help me answer these and pick the questions. We also have a free raffle for those watching live. So if you are watching this live, every 10 minutes or so, we're going to pick one person. So 30-minute show, 3 people get chosen. You just got to watch. And then when we announce that you won, we'll give you information on what to do. What you need to do is like, subscribe, and write in the comments, free consultation, whatever it is in the live show. And we'll pick one person every 10 minutes. And then you need to take a screenshot to prove the account that said this that was chosen is yours. And from there, we can send the information. So with that, let's get it started. All right, so there's good and bad news. I guess the good news is things are getting a little bit better with the pandemic and with immigration. U.S. immigration is definitely, I'm seeing some stuff speed up. I'm getting interviews happen faster for most cases. Not faster, going back to normal kind of times. But on the other side, a lot of the embassies are still not processing. The biggest disaster is being the one from India. So I had a consultation this morning with the Indian couple waiting for 1.5 years, no interviews. Mexico, our clients in Mexico waiting for years. It's years, yeah. So it's pretty catastrophic with the wait that exists for you to be able to get together with your loved one, especially if you're doing a marriage case. So those are just some of the stuff that are happening in the immigration world. There's a lot more nuances and stuff. We'll start taking questions now. We have one question from, it's definitely me asking, how much money or income does my wife need to sponsor me? So the sponsorship, financial sponsorship for a family-based case depends on the family size that you have first and foremost. So let's say your wife's in the United States and you're married and you don't have any kids or any other dependents. So a family of 2, you need to look up Form I-864. Form I-864 annually changes in a list depending on your family size, how much money you need to earn to satisfy the affidavit of support requirements. So if you go to the website for the I-864 on uscis.gov and look up a family size of 2, right now you need to make $21,775. Now, if your wife's in the military, it's a lower, but generally most people for a family size of 2 need $21,775. Obviously, I don't know your family size, if you have kids or if your wife has sponsored someone else before as well. That could be considered a family member for the purposes of the affidavit of support sponsorship. So there's a lot more information I need to know. But generally speaking, for a family of 2 that everything else is clean, I just round it up. Instead of saying $21,775, I just say $22,000 a year. You need to prove it by pay stubs and income statements, employer letters, taxes, all this kind of stuff. But that's what you do there. Thank you for the question. So we have another question, which is, I'll address this now. Myra asks, how long does it take the NBC to review additional documents? This kind of stuff's all up to them. It shouldn't take them too long, but it's different for every case. So generally, when it comes to questions about timelines, it's so inconsistent that I don't like to answer those questions because it varies drastically depending on the case and luck and all this kind of stuff. Tim Orberg asks, what if during the adjustment of status interview, I-693 was not asked by the interviewing officer? The I-693 is a medical checkup. They didn't ask for it, so it's on the record. And it was not filed initially. Is it going to affect the decision? So if you had an interview and there's no medical checkup from I-693 there, you didn't give it, they usually almost always will issue an RFE saying, please give it to us. Now, sometimes the officers may completely forget and your case move forward. If you know that they didn't get it, you should on your own contact them and give it to them so it's on the record. You don't want to let that be hanging. Rarely some officers will deny the case for not having sufficient documents. It's a jerk move to do because they could just ask you for it. But if you know it's missing, you should contact them and give it to them before a decision is made so it's in the record. Even if they mistakenly do approve it without it, you don't want the record to be missing something like that. So I would say, talk with a lawyer, but you may have to just give it to them and get that in. All right, so next question, Paranoid Android, a regular asks, are visa holders from the EU, from Italy in particular, allowed to return to the US after a brief trip abroad? I was vaccinated here in the United States. So generally, if you're visiting the EU, you cannot return to the United States unless you're in a non-EU country for 2 weeks. So you are subject to a bar unless one of the exemptions apply to you. For example, if you're married to a U.S. citizen, if a minor U.S. citizen child. There's various exemptions that are there. If you don't have it, you have to get either a NIE, a special exception from the embassy, or you just wait in another country that's not subject to trial ban for 2 weeks, then you re-enter. And in these kind of cases, if you're a visa holder, we don't want you to leave. So I have clients that need to go back to UK, United Kingdom, they need to go back to Italy. I say, sorry, you shouldn't do that, because if you go, it's not clear when and if you can come back. So unless you really, really, really have to, be prepared for a lot of headache, unless one of the exceptions and exemptions applies to you specifically. But thank you for your question, Carter. We have a question. Malik asked, my brother went for a marriage interview and the immigration officer wrote I-485 pending. What's that? It just means they're still thinking about it and just got to wait a little bit longer to see what the decision is. Bruce asks, did Asylum interview back to normal? I think you're asking, are the timelines back to normal? No, there's no normal. So it's just, you got to wait. There's just no normal when it comes to Asylum. All right, Ambrose asks, hello, John. As you may or may not know, I have an approved I-130 from 1995. It got approved the same year. My priority date is current. I have no previous criminal or American immigration violations. Will I be able to visit my U.S. citizen petitioner sister in November and adjust my status immediately? So, you know, you can't enter the U.S. with a tourist visa to adjust status in the United States. So when you get a tourist visa, you're saying, I'm coming to the U.S. temporarily and I'm going to go back home. But if you come in and then file for adjustment of status, it could look like you lied. You didn't really want a tourist visa, temporary visit. You're coming here to be permanently here. So it's not recommended that you try to pull something like that. It could be troublesome. The need to see the whole case as you keep the I-130 alive at the NBC. There's a lot of different things that we need to check. But with regard to you coming as a visitor, unless you have an H-1B visa or an L-1 visa or something like that, I don't recommend using a tourist visa to come to the United States with the intent to adjust status. So, I mean, if you come here and then your intent changes while you're here, then that's one thing. But you told me that's your plan, so that's I like to assume. Abdul asked, hi, if my marriage hits the rocks before I apply for the waiver on the first 2 years green card, what do I do? Will I lose my residency status because my marriage has hit the rock? Well, you know, you can still keep your green card if you have a 2-year green card. So for those who don't know, if your marriage is new when you get the green card is only valid for 2 years. 2 years after getting the green card, you have to file a form I-751, removal of conditions, to prove that the relationship was real. And so if you're not together anymore, you can still keep the green card, but it becomes a hell of a lot harder. You have to prove that the relationship was real still, with documentation of your relationship, joint accounts, all this kind of stuff. And at the same time, file for the waiver, say it was real. Either it just didn't work out, or there was abuse, or some other kind of things, waiver things that you could request. For that, one thing to important note is they cannot approve a case for the most part, unless some certain exceptions. But for the most part, they can't approve the case if you're not divorced. So you should definitely talk with an immigration attorney. I can't recommend you just go and get divorced, but depending on where you're on the timeline and stuff, seriously thinking about getting divorced sooner rather than later is an important consideration to have in these kind of situations. We got to really analyze the case and see the documents, the timelines, all this kind of stuff to give individual advice on that. I'm sorry to hear about your relationship, but that does happen. Alsan says, hi, can I expedite my I-130 petition to overseas? I'm not sure what you mean petition to overseas. What you probably mean is you got married, or you just have an I-130 petition pending and you want to get it done sooner so you can go to the National Visa Center. You can give it a shot. I'm not optimistic. They're really hard on this kind of stuff. I have a client who has cancer, who just was diagnosed with cancer, and we requested an expedite, and they just denied it. And I was really shocking that they did that. So I'm not optimistic, but you got to do what you got to do. Give it a shot. You might get a better officer than the one that we dealt with, but that's the situation there. Thank you for your question, Assam. User 261 asks, does an F2 visa holder qualify for Cisco? Well, an F2 visa holder is a child of a student, someone who's a student, their spouse or child of a student. CISPA is something completely unrelated to that. So I don't know if it applies or not. You may need an F2A preference category, F2B preference category. It may apply to them, but I would need to review the case, the dates of birth, I-130 filing dates, all this kind of stuff. It's not something I get advised directly on that. Next question from Armand says, what happened when you get a felony and you have only a green card? Asking for my cousin sorry to hear that. I mean, there's a good chance that you're going to be put, or your cousin's going to be put into removal proceedings and be kicked out of the United States. Now, it depends on what the felony is, what the charges are, all this kind of stuff. But it's possible that they could deport him. So that's, I mean, so your cousin immediately needs to have a criminal attorney if you haven't had one already, but also an immigration attorney that's really, really well versed in criminal immigration law, like help with that to see what exactly it is. There's some exceptions, but generally, if you have a felony, it's pretty serious. There's a good chance that they could remove you from the United States based on that, unless some sort of things pop up. Now we have a raffle winner, Abdul Salam Ibrahim. We talked a little bit, Abdul. Thank you for watching. What I want you to do, if you're still watching, is take a screenshot to have proof that the account that made the request is yours, and email that screenshot to me at info@jqqlaw.com, and we'll set up a 15-minute video consultation to generally talk about your case to see what's going on. Again, it's Abdul Salam Ibrahim. Please take a screenshot, email it to info@jqqlaw.com. It's my email that pops up at the bottom. If you're watching on TikTok, I'm not sure if my email's there, but type in my name or JQK Law, and my information come up. But congratulations, you won the raffle. And a separate thing, if you're doing a marriage green card case, I want to remind everybody that I have the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide, a free ebook that's available. It's the best one out there, frankly. Just go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com and download it. Even if you're doing any other green card kind of case, there's a lot of information that touches upon things you need to know that you can get from that. Just go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com and download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. But thank you. And again, Abdul Salam Rahim, look forward to talking with you. Sanjay asks, the primary application has got the green card, but the derivative beneficiary has not got the green card yet. Even if I-485 apply together, can the primary application change jobs without affecting the derivative green card? Probably. I haven't had the situation. I can't say, Sanjay, for sure. So obviously generally, but as long as the primary got it, probably the rest can. But I don't remember exactly. I first got to see the whole case and what's going on. But you probably can. I can't say that for sure, but I feel like you can. But that's something I have to look into more in detail. Sorry, I can't give you a more definite answer, Sanjay. Timuric says, thank you, sir. You're welcome, Timuric. Ambrose says, sorry, John, I reside in Canada, and I'm a Canadian citizen of Canada. Regarding my question of just status, so Canadians don't need to apply for a visa, but they still need to go to the border and enter with B2 status, so it doesn't change at all. Unless, Ambrose, you have an L1 or H1B, you can't just enter the United States with the intent to adjust status. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Uwe Sheikh asks, I've applied for a U visa and the crime is stalking. Will my case be approved? So, Uwe Sheikh, I can't answer a question like that. It's just based on one sentence, so I wouldn't be able to provide guidance on that. James says, should one leave the U.S. to file a green card or EB3? I'm a RN, a nurse, currently working. I'm a asylee. James, it really depends on your case. When you file the asylee, which field office is going to adjudicate your case, and a lot more. So you really need to contact an immigration or private to go over your case to see what's appropriate. It's just too case specific. Deborah asks, can I do a fiance visa petition for my fiance if he is in the UK but illegal and is a citizen of Nigeria? Typically, you can. If you're residing someplace, you can. Sometimes U.S. immigration has gotten more strict. Well, they'll ask if you had any immigration violations anywhere, but that doesn't necessarily prevent you from coming to the United States. Deborah, that's something I'm not 100% sure. It's not something I deal with. I assume you can. Deborah, but I would need to look at that more and see if there's been examples of it not working out. But my initial assumption is that it's not a big deal. It's not an issue for U.S. side, at least. But I can't say that with 100% certainty. That's something I have to look into, do more research on. Now, Adiga I filed the I-589, that's for Asylum, in October, and I have done my biometrics in May. Do I have to wait 1 year before filing the work permit? I don't do asylum case anymore. The wait time was like 5 months. They said they were going to increase it to a year, but I'm not sure if that was undone. I don't keep track of the details of asylum law and stuff like that. But your immigration can help you with that. 29 Super C, a regular, says, good night, John, JQK Law. Hope you're having a good week thus far. Thank you so much. It's been a great week. The weather's good, been swimming, just general life kind of stuff, ups and downs. But the grace of God is everything's been wonderful. Thank you so much for the kind words. Baharak asks, does the U.S. Embassy in Dubai send interviews these days for immigrant visas? So when you're doing an immigrant visa, you actually go through Abu Dhabi. Dubai is for non-immigrant visas, like tourist visas. Abu Dhabi does for immigrant visas. And it's really, 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 really hard to get an interview to go there. I've been having problems. So all my cases are pretty much delayed or stalled that are going there. If you know somebody, I had a client who knew somebody, and somehow he got an interview set up without me, so that was shocking. But overall, it's really hard to get an interview, not just in Abu Dhabi, in UAE, in Turkey, Armenia, India, Brazil. It's just Mexico, in Canada even. So it just, everything is stalled. You should expect delays. I'm sorry, but that's the current situation. Pardis asks, what are your thoughts about someone who came here on a B2 visa and applied for asylum and timely before the visa expired and is now pending adjustment status after being married to a USC? So that's no problem. When you're married to a US citizen, if you enter lawfully, and even if you overstay, it doesn't matter at all. And I do a case like this once or twice a year. Should be fine. I got to know more details about a lot more other things. Like in the asylum claim, what they say was, like, I had a gentleman that called me to get his tourist visa. He lied about his marital status. He said he was married when he wasn't. Came to the United States, filed for asylum. In the asylum application, said he lied, that the marriage was fake. He just wanted to get a tourist visa by saying he was married. And then he fell in love with a U.S. citizen, applied for a green card. Easy enough case. But when he went to his green card interview, the officer said, well, it says here you're married before. It's like, yeah, I lied to get my tourist visa. And I told them about that. And I have a waiver, all this kind of stuff. And he's like, well, we don't believe that. You have to get proof from the home country that you're not married before. Now, this person filed for asylum. He has no roots in the home country. They wouldn't even help him out. So he's stuck in a hard place. That's why you really need to know the details of each case before I guide you. But generally speaking, if you're married to a U.S. citizen after you came on a tourist visa, you have a good chance to adjust status, but I'll need to know the whole case. But thank you for your question, Patrice. D asks, I entered the U.S. on the visa waiver program and then changed my mind. COVID, got married, filed adjustment after 90 days. Do I have to prove not immigrant intent on the interview? Very unlikely. I've never had a case where someone came on the visa waiver program, filed after getting married, and had any discussion about immigrant intent or anything like that. There are a lot of other channels that will say you're going to get deported, you got to leave, all this kind of stuff. Most of them will say that. But frankly, I've never seen that happen. I think they're wrong, unless it's really obvious that someone really was lying or something like that. If you change your mind, code popped up, it is what it is. Now, you have to be married to a U.S. citizen. If you're married to a green card holder, it's not going to work. But if you're married to a U.S. citizen, do that. Elisa asks, how do me and my fiance get married if he doesn't have an ID form from Mexico or here? Well, your fiance needs to get some ID. You guys some ID. Contact Mexico. What is it called? Consular or something like that. They should use their birth certificate to get their Mexican passport, so they have ID. They shouldn't be walking around with an ID of some sort. That's what they got to do, Lisa. Thank you for your question. Porhan asks, can you travel outside the USA if you have a record of misdemeanor or suspended sentence over 20 years? There's risk. I need to see the actual record itself, so I can't advise on that. It's not a specialty of mine, criminal immigration, so I wouldn't set up a consultation with me on that. But there's risks involved. First of all, I got to see what the misdemeanor is. Some misdemeanors are deportable offenses, so it really depends on the facts and details and how the law is written in your case. Even if it's not a problem, when you do re-enter the United States, there's a good chance they're going to take you to a secondary room and spend a lot of time asking you questions. So we prepare for headaches on that, but we really need to review the case in detail. James asks, am I eligible to file a green card to enter the U.S. on an F1 student visa, but didn't complete the study, filed asylum, and I'm currently working? James, I can't advise. It's too case specific for me to tell you if you're eligible for something like that or not. You should definitely consult with an immigration attorney in private. It's not something I can help you with on a live show like this for general information. Katya asks, what should I do? Last I heard from immigration was April 2018 that they received my petition. Katya, I don't know enough about your case to be able to advise on what you should do or not. So definitely consult with an immigration attorney in private. Abdul follows up, thanks JQK Law for making one of the winners of this raffle. I'm sending my screenshot right now. Thank you, Abdul. I appreciate it. God bless you, and I look forward to talking with you soon. All right, so just a quick reminder, we have a winner of the raffle. It's our regular, Marlon818TV. Congratulations. Take a screenshot to where you said you would like to have a consultation so you know it's your account, Marlon. Email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com, and I'll send you a link to schedule a 15-minute consultation video, Zoom consultation, so we go over a case. Now, a quick reminder, I can't answer questions about how long things are taking. Unfortunately, it's out of my control. And as I said at the beginning of the show, there's huge delays and everything. If you feel like it's too much delay, you might need to file a lawsuit in some cases. And I don't handle lawsuits for immigration, so I'm not a good source for that. But I'm here to answer general questions that are not about timelines. And a reminder is download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide if you're interested in a fiance or marriage case. You can get that information there. It helps you out a lot. 40 pages, best one out there. Just go to www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com and download the free ebook. Satara asks, can my sister remarry? She is in divorce process. Well, she needs to finish the divorce first, then remarry. But I mean, this is an immigration thing. It's not about family or marriage law, so I wouldn't want to talk too much more about that. But thank you for your question, Satara. All right, Edward asks, I'm about to file my I-751 removal conditions, having a 2-year green card, living in New York. I heard that processing time is around 24 to 36 hours. You probably mean, I'm not sure what you mean hours. They're calling everyone for second interview. Are they trying? Edward, all that information is garbage. You file a case. If it's strong, it may take 6 months. It may take 2 years to be approved. You may or may not do an interview depending on the strength of your case. Don't look what other people are saying. Just look at your facts, do what you got to do, and wait it out. A lot of this is just nonsense. Ufshek asks, I applied previously on a crime of assault, and now it's the same guy stalking me. Ufshek, I don't handle U visas too, so you should definitely have an immigration attorney help you with this in private. But I'm not a specialist in U visas, and it's too case specific. Katya asks, my husband is a U.S. citizen, and I'm DACA. It's been 2 years since we last heard from immigration. Okay, so Katya, what did you file? Form I-130? What other forms did you file? If it's I-130, that should usually be done in less than a year. So that's a problem. If you're doing a DACA with advanced parole adjustment of status, 2 years is still too long. If you're going to do DACA with a waiver, I-601 waiver, that timeline's okay. But as you see, there's different scenarios. That's why we just got to sit and talk out to you. It's not something I could talk about in a public setting. Just too much information that I need to know. Timur Regas, regarding to provide the I-693 form to USCIS even after the interview as a medical checkup, is it needed to be sent to the main office or local where it was interviewed? Timur, that goes too much in the case-specific kind of guidance. You should have had a letter from the officer that stated their name at the end of the interview, as well as the address, and you could just send it there. There's risk involved. You could potentially go and hand drop it off if your office allows it. But I don't want to get too case-specific information without knowing exactly what's going on in your case and what is in the Form I-693. I'd want to review it first. Kyle Paddock says, hi, have you heard anything about the embassy in Bogota? Are they extremely backed up? We are waiting to be assigned an interview for a marriage visa interview. So, people are talking, other immigration were talking about Bogota, Colombia, about delays. I think there is some delays, but they're processing still. There was a discussion about this. I can't remember the details. I don't have a Colombian case pending myself, so I don't have the exact details. I just recall lawyers were talking about this. There'd be some delays, but moving forward. But I can't remember exactly, so I can't answer that question. In a way that matters. Good looking asks, I had a public guardian as my conservator because of mental health problems 6 years ago. My N400 interview is coming up. Can this be an issue? And maybe I need to know more about what happened with your mental health issues. Were you sent to an asylum institution or insane? Yes, or were there issues of self-harm at the time of adjustment of status that could be problematic to go back? So that's good looking. It's just too case specific. I can't answer that here. I need to know a lot more details about your life. Alsan follows up to expedite. Does USCIS have to approve that first? What's the process? Alsan, there's different kinds of expedite. It depends on what kind of case you have, what the reason is. The question you ask always are a bit off, so it's not something I can easily answer. But all this information is online at uscis.gov if you're dealing with them, or to contact the National Visa Center if you're at that stage. Michael asks, people pronounce my name incorrectly every time, so you think I'd change my name of citizenship? Yeah, you can change your name of citizenship. Not every field office, not every office does name changes. So for example, San Francisco typically doesn't do name changes. Los Angeles does. So if you're a local office where you do citizenship naturalization, you can change your name. If not, you have to go to court, your local county court, and just update your name there. Monetai says, I got married in Morocco 2 years ago, wanted a divorce. My husband got his visa last year. Sorry to hear that. I don't know if the question is there, but sorry that you guys are getting divorced. Casey asks, helping my girlfriend's parents get legal. They were in the process for years, and some random person, your question cuts off. There's just too much going on there. I need to sit and talk with your girlfriend and her parents to see what's going on with that. Call and cancel, what's up with that? I don't know. I have to see the case for myself. It's too case specific, and not able to answer that question here. So that's that. Ronald says, hi to you, Ronald. Thank you for watching the show. And asks, I have a question. Recently, I resigned to my employer and approved I-130 and I-485 pending U.S. status, now 106 days. Ronald, what happened is I think you say you have an employment case pending. 6 months after the I-485 have come by and you have a new employer, you can transfer if 180 days have passed since the adjustment of status is filed. You got to do Form I-485J and find a same or similar employer. It is possible, but we need to talk with the employer, see what the job is, all this kind of stuff. But there's a possibility that works. I would have filed the I-485J and then resigned, just so it's on the record. But these things are possible. So yeah, schedule a consultation and we'll take it from there. Quick question. We're getting a lot of questions again about how long things take to get approved or things forward. I can't talk about timelines, unfortunately. Deborah asks, what happens if an I-290F approval time runs out while waiting for the interview date? Is there a COVID extension? So the I-129F is the fiance visa form that you fill out. And once it's approved, they only give there's an approval timeline of how many days. It's like 4 months or something like that. If it runs out and the green card is still not issued, immigrant visa that is not issued by the embassy, it's still okay. The embassy has full right to automatically extend that. So I don't know why they put a time limitation on the K1 I-129F approval notice, but if the time runs out, the embassy could easily, they have full discretion to increase time. It's not something I worry about for my cases, so I don't want you to worry about that either. Ronald follows up, the old employer, can he revoke the I-140 that's approved? If it's after 6 months, they want to have a portability to be able to give the ability for you to change job, obviously stuck with this employer. I don't handle these kind of cases anymore, so I don't remember all the nuances, but you can change it. Whether they can revoke it or not, I don't think at this point they can revoke it because it's been 180 days after adjustment is filed. But again, I don't handle I-140s anymore, so that's not a thing that's fresh out of my mind. Edward follows up, thank you for the live Q&A, my friend. My friends have kids, but even they got interviews for the I-751. It just made me nervous. Before they usually approve I-751, the interviews at backlog. Edward, some cases they approve, some they don't. Almost none of my cases ever have an interview. I have that cases. Yeah, I never had an I-751 that I started myself and filed that had an interview. Only cases where people filed their own, they messed up and they came when we started working on it. Those require interviews. But if you have a clean case, it doesn't necessarily have an interview. Your friends might have some issues that were problematic, and so that caused the interview. It's different things. But immigration is one of those things where people always compare themselves to other people, and it's a complete wrong thing to do because it's just every case is different. So don't compare yourself. Michael says, thank you. You're welcome, Michael. Best of luck on your name change. Casey asks, so what's the full process to get legal? They finally got their Mexican passports. Casey, that's it's like saying, what's the process to have surgery? Well, surgery on what? So it's not a question and answer. Just have them schedule a consultation with an attorney. I won the DV lottery, Barry says. Well, my asylum case is pending. Is it possible just status? Maybe. I get this question a lot. I talk about it a lot. I'll say it one last time here. If you filed a timely asylum claim, meaning you enter, like for example, on a tourist visa lawfully. If you didn't enter lawfully, no, you can't adjust status. But if you enter lawfully and within your lawful period of time in the United States, you file for asylum, some offices will take the interpretation that you still have status and can adjust status because the case is pending and you timely filed it. Some offices will say no, once your original visa time expired, then you're out of status and you can't adjust status. And we don't have any final laws on this. So there's no direct answer. It depends on your field office. But if you want to take a risk and you have an asylum case pending, you got not much to lose. So it might be something to do, but consult an attorney private. Hannah G.S. says, I-140 is approved. That's the work application. I-485 pending for 210 days. Can I transfer my job with similar work nature to second company? Yeah, we just talked about this right now, Tanji. It's portability. You need to file, you and the employer, the new employer, need to file Form I-485J to do the transfer. You also need to have your EAD at this point. You probably do if it's been 210 days. But if you have your EAD, you do the transfer, start working with them. If you have an EAD, you can start working with them. But to officially transfer the case over, you need to file Form I-485J and take care of that there. I would consult the immigration about all that to make sure I said matches and is correct what it is. So I can't give individual legal guidance here. I need to look at that. Edward says, thank you for answering my question. God bless you. God bless you as well, Edward. Thank you so much for your questions. Marashi asks, it's been 265 days and my application I-485 was pending with USS and I got advanced parole. That's normal, 265 days. You shouldn't be counting the days. You can just tell me in months it is, but 9 months or whatever, 10 months, it's just normal. And Marashi, I have a asylum case too. Can't travel in my home country without any fear. Marashi, if you're afraid of going to your home country, file for asylum. So I don't understand how you would go to your country without fear. So how could I answer that question? You know, contact, we have a private consultation about it, but you already know the answer to that. Barry says, I came as a J1 student, switched to F1, then to Asylum. You know, maybe, again, Barry, you got to see. You ain't got much to lose to give it a shot, but these issues exist. Tangi asks, do I need to transfer my H-1B to match labor certificate to new location? Tangi, this goes into too much specific stuff. If you are, the H-1B doesn't matter necessarily anymore. I mean, you could do a transfer your H-1B, but this is going way too much into individual advice. I would say consult with an immigration attorney in private. I'll connect to my colleague, if you like, who handles business immigration cases. He would be the person to talk about this. You would want to have your new employer on the line as well. Ronald says, Michael, can I transfer new employer if I'm still waiting for my EAD approval under I-485J? So EAD is separate from the I-485J. The I-485J is to transfer the I-140 to a new employer. So if that goes through, you can't necessarily work with, they need the EAD. But you know, this isn't the kind of thing I handle too often. So if you like schedule consultation with my colleague, he can help you with that. Now we're coming close. Actually, Ronald, Kayla, let's try to get another winner right there. I wouldn't be able to take that consultation with that gentleman, so let's do another one. Sorry, it's on my assistant. But we're going to be ending the show soon in a couple more minutes. If you have some last questions, please let me know. Immigration law questions. As a reminder, down the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. It's an ultimate guide, teaches you about fiance visas, marriage visas, and what you got to deal with. So before you go and talk with an immigration attorney, you're fully prepared and done your homework to see what's going on. That's going to be really important about that. And we're getting questions again about timelines. They can't answer how long things are going to take. I want to, we have a winner, Pardis, we talked about earlier in the segment, Pardis Salaki. Thank you so much. If you're still watching, please email me and take a screenshot to show that the you know, social media account you posted is yours. And we'll set up a live 15-minute consultation, talk about your case, see what's going on, Pardis. Look forward to it. And I guess that was a final winner for today, our third winner of the raffle. So thank you so much for everyone who joined. If you have one last question, let's get it in, and then we'll call it a day. We've gone on 32 minutes. Sweet Carlos, I filed the I-485, I-130, I-765 after 2 years of marriage. Is that a negative move in front of USCIS? No, I mean, applying for a green card is a negative move. I don't understand where you would see negativity there. I got to know your whole case, but just you filing for a green card, regardless of how many years it was, is not a negative move. That just doesn't make any sense if it was. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Thanks for joining. We'll catch you all next week, 5 p.m. Pacific time. We're here live on these various channels, YouTube, Facebook, JQK Law is the name. Search that, you'll find it. I'm immigration lawyer John Casravi. Everyone, thank you. God bless. Be safe. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.